Hello, I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it. You listen. Don't worry, there's not going to be any special reviewers today. It's just going to be me. I am taking a look at a fanfic called You've Changed by Sony May of DeviantArt. I've heard a lot about this girl, so I'm a little nervous about what I'm about to come into. I'm only going to read part 1 because the person who requested this did not bother linking me to the other parts, and Sony May's gallery is so freaking huge, I am not going to waste a half an hour searching for the other parts. So, yeah. I'm not really sure what genre this fanfic is in. I think it has something to do with like the Warner Brothers universe, you know, with like Tiny Toons, Looney Tunes, Animaniacs, Freakazoid. We'll just say it's in that. Like I said before, this is on DeviantArt, so I can't really say what the rating is, but I'll let you know that it has 14 comments, 12 favorites, and it has 489 views and 3 downloads. So, let's take a look. One day later, after the Swark Hammer had arrived for the first time in Acme Metropolis, everything was almost back to normal. One day later after what? Is this supposed to be the beginning of the story, or is this starting off in the middle of the story? If it's not supposed to be the beginning of the story, why does it say You've Changed Part 1? By almost, it means that something unusual is seen in Acme Central Park. Not the kids playing in the sandbox, or the strange breeds of pet dogs there, but Tech-E Coyote, who mostly spends his time his lab. I think you're missing a word there. That word would be in. Is now out Don't you mean in the park and in broad daylight? So many memories were made here in this park. Tech sighed and thought to himself. I love the lack of punctuation after himself. It's supposed to end with a period. And that was the place where I first met her. Dash, 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 dash. Tech. Narrating. I was just a young pup and I wanted to fly the new toy plane my dad bought for me. So my parents took me and my siblings to the park for a family fun day. I flew my plane into the air as I ran at a fast pace and started to use the controls to make it fly even higher. Then something else caught my eye while I was at the lake. A young white she-coyote in a pink dress. I had never seen her before. I had never seen her before. I guess I could technically be grammatically correct, but it just seems better to have like I hadn't seen her before. That would make more sense than just saying I never seen her before. But she looked at me and gave me a smile and waved hello at me. While I was too busy looking at the she-coyote pup, my plane turned back to me and hit me right on the forehead. I was about to burst into tears until the she-coyote came up to me and offered me a bandage and one of the flowers she picked. Yes, because all little kids tend to have bandages right on them if another little kid gets hurt. The only band-aid they would probably have on them is the one that they're already using. Ugh. She told me that her name was Laura and that the park is her most favorite spot in the whole city. So I made a promise to her that we should meet again every Saturday afternoon and play together. And we kept the promise for months, and neither of us had forgotten it. But that promise was soon about to be broken, because Laura told me that she and her family were moving away to another city. Thinking that we could never see each other again, Laura and I gave each other the yarn rings we made in school to remember one another. After that day, the park didn't feel the same to me, and I stopped going outside very much. Then Tech pulled out his yarn-made ring out of his pocket and looked at it. And it's been 18 years since I last saw you, said Tech. Happy anniversary, Laura. Laura? Who's Laura? Ace asked, interrupting the moment. Okay, why does this girl keep on forgetting to put periods at the end of her sentences? Is it really that hard to push the little dot on your screen? Or on your keyboard, I should say? Forgive me, I'm not exactly myself after what happened in the last episode. No one, Tex said as he tried to hide the ring. I've never heard of her. You ain't fooling us, Tex, said Lexi. You've been acting weirder than usual today. Oh wow, look, an actual period. Ah. He's probably worried about his precious little babies back at the lab would be left alone without him, Duck said, mocking much of the techno-geek his friend is. No, and I will tell you what's been going on, Tech confessed. Today's the anniversary of the day I met my first girl here. First? You might as well make that girl be the only girl you've ever dated, said Duck, and Lexi smacked him on the back of his head for that. And I'm guessing that Laura girl you were talking about was her too? Ace asked. Yes, Tech nodded. Okay, the lack of periods is really starting to... And it's been 18 years since I've last seen her. I don't know if she still remembers me. Okay, why is that? If he's saying both of those lines, they should all be in the same quotation, not in separate quotations. I'm sure you'll see her again, Tech, said Lexi. You may never know when she might come back here. Yeah, and you may not know if she grew up to be fat, ugly, married housewife with 20 kids, Duck remarked. I'm kidding. Duck covers his head from Lexi and Slam hitting him. Who the fuck is Slam? Anyway, I doubt... That's not how you spell it! Anyways, I doubt she'll come back. I'll doubt she'll take you back when she finds out what a nerdzilla you are, Duck added. Sorry, slip of tongue, Duck said as Tech glared at him. He better be wrong, Tech thought as he puts away the ring into his pocket just before everyone else left the park. Okay, this is just the first part of the story. I'm not really sure who the fuck these characters are. I guess that shouldn't really matter. What I should be looking at is how well this story was written. Layout-wise, no. I mean, this person keeps on missing their periods. They keep on having 2 lines of dialogue from one character, and they don't have it be the same line of dialogue. They just keep on having it separated. They have misspellings in there. They don't really have much of a setup for the plot. It's just... ugh. The story itself is just kind of... ugh. It's just... ugh. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've read, but it's not the best either. In other words, it's pretty forgettable. Yeah, forgettable. Well, I'm the Fanfic Critic. I read it, you listen. Ugh, and I need a drink.